Joining us now is the author of Why We Fight, Fox News national security strategist Sebastian Gorka. All right, good evening, Dr. Gorka. One of the things that seems to continuously come back at us is James Comey lying or being inconsistent in terms of his own answers regarding the same thing. So, for example, we've got James Comey saying, you know, that it had to be a coincidence that after the tarmac meeting between Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch, there just happened to be a meeting between Justice and the FBI, but there was never anything mentioned about this.
Not only that, we know that James Comey, after his classified meeting, his briefing with President-elect Trump, he gets into an FBI vehicle and on an FBI laptop writes up a memo that is by nature classified because it's a summary of a meeting with the president, which he gives to his friend, his law professor friend, to leak to the media. That is a crime. Judge, with regards to what happened today, it's very, very clear. I was on the transition team with General Flynn. I worked in the White House with General Flynn. The call to the ambassador, to the Russian ambassador, was utterly legal. That was Mike Flynn's job. The contents of the conversation were likewise utterly legal, requesting potentially the Russian ambassador's support in a vote at the UN to prevent Israel from being boycotted. How is that illegal? But the FBI had the full transcript of the discussion, so why did Jim Comey send those agents to the White House in flagrant denial of White House counsel procedure? It was a classic entrapment ploy.
Well, you know, not legal entrapment in the sense that we prosecutors understand it, but what it was a setup.
A perjury trap.
And
a perjury
it was
trap.
Without a doubt.
Right.
Okay, let's now bring into the conversation Republican Congressman Darrell Issa. All right, good evening, Congressman. The issue
Judge.
that we just heard a bunch of sound by the mainstream media and those on the left. They've got Flynn guilty of treason. Flynn should be in jail. Flynn is President Trump's puppet. I mean, sometimes I wonder if we're watching the same news. In fact, the prosecutors even said that that's not appropriate treason in this situation. And yet the overreach is nonstop.
Well, you know what Sebastian Gorka just said is very important for your viewers to understand, which is anything he may have done for which he may have to pay a price, he did not. None of it was done, if you will, relative to the investigation of any wrongdoing by the president. Nothing was done there. Yes, he failed to register as a foreign agent. Yes, he lied to the FBI. And whether it's entrapment or not, remember that James Comey had one intention clearly before Donald Trump was president and afterwards, which was to get to Donald Trump. And you can see it in everything he did. He didn't keep Flynn from becoming the national security advisor, which he potentially could have done with this transcript if it was so volatile. He certainly could have told the president that Flynn was misleading or lying to people, which could have affected his being fired sooner, and certainly in the name of national security would have been the right thing to do. James Comey from day one has been a corrupt cop trying to get to the president, and it shows in everything he's done, including what he failed to do, which was to be honest to both Barack Obama and to President Trump when he was talking about what he knew, when he knew it, and what should be done in the name of national security.
All right. And Sebastian Gorka, I mean, the whole concept of the Flynn possibly being a foreign agent and not registering as one, we know now that that was not the case when he was in the White House, and yet the left is suggesting that he was a foreign agent while he was in the White House. That was made absolutely clear that was not the case.
Today's proceedings were a farce. First, the FARA Act. Nobody has gone to jail for writing an op-ed for a NATO ally, which is what General Flynn did. He wrote an op-ed piece supporting the Turkish government. We're not at war with Turkey, no matter how much we dislike Erdogan. Secondly, this totally spurious Logan Act charge against the National Security Advisor. If the Logan Act were about a serious crime, John Kerry should be doing 20 to life right now for his secret negotiations with Iran after he left office and when the Trump administration came into power. Where's John Kerry's arrest? Why isn't he being woken up at 2 a.m. and put in manacles and shackles? It's absolute absurdity.
And the fear, Congressman Issa, you know, as we listen to the facts, and we're getting the facts out here, the fear is that none of the illegality, the unethical behavior on the part of the people on the left, are they going to ever be made accountable for? They skated during Obama's 8 years, and they're skating through these first 2 years because of good old Jeff Sessions. I haven't heard a word from this guy Huber, and, you know, hope springs eternal as it relates to this new guy. But what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think the insurance policy that Lisa Page and Peter Strzok talked about has been working for 2 years. For 2 years, the American people have been distracted from the real accomplishments of this president, and he has been forced to both do the work of the president and to deal with these endless assaults. Let's face it. 2 years ago, James Comey did not tell the president things he should have told him because he was trying to indict the president.
Exactly.
It is now 2 years later, and he still doesn't have a case, even with a special prosecutor of essentially his buddy Mueller.
Yes, it is his buddy Mueller, indeed, Sebastian. His buddy Mueller is a guy that, you know, was his guardian angel during those famous John Ashcroft hospital moments that he remembers vividly, but can't remember 245 times anything that's happened in the last few months when he appears before Congress.
Yeah, that's his example of leadership and being loyal to the truth. The fact is, Robert Mueller is in such a conflict of interest from day one of becoming special counsel. Why? Rod Rosenstein. We have to recall this. Rod Rosenstein made him special counsel to investigate the president the day after Rod Rosenstein escorted him to the White House to interview for the job of FBI director again. Robert Mueller crashed and burned in that interview. The president said, no, I need new blood. You're not going to be the new director. Less than 24 hours later, Rod Rosenstein makes him the special counsel to investigate the man in front of whom he failed to get his old job back. How can he be an impartial investigator? He can't. He should never have accepted that commission.
Well, I hear Congressman Issa saying exactly. All right. Thank you so much.